Hey brother, welcome back to this Happy Man coaching video. So there you are, standing in front of your wife. She's got this disapproving, displeased look on her face. Her face is kind of pulled up, her eyebrows are kind of pulled in, and it doesn't feel very good. It doesn't feel very loving, does it? It feels almost like standing in front of mama, like you've done something wrong, like you're a bad boy. And quite honestly, you've agreed with it. You've agreed with her in some way. You are afraid that she's right. You're afraid that she knows something that you don't, right? And when we read the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and if you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. It's one of the first books that I give to men when I work with them. Is in it, Dr. Glover says that we've been conditioned, trained to feel like, to believe that she has all the answers, that she knows the right way to do things. And look, she has an opinion, she has a certain sense of things, and we can absolutely benefit from that. But we don't want to make her the owner, we don't want to make her responsible for our happiness. This is kind of what we do when we go to the doctor, right? We kind of abdicate our power. We say, oh, this is the doctor, and the doctor knows best, and whatever the doctor says goes. And that means that even if the doctor says we have to take this pill or do this surgery or engage in something that we're like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like that's not in alignment with what I want to do, or it doesn't seem like that's the right answer. We'll still defer to that doctor because they're the doctor, right? And this isn't a ding against doctors, and it's not a ding against women. It's just there's a certain amount of personal responsibility that we have in order to lead ourselves and our life, in order to own ourself, right? And who else should we actually have the right to own in our life but us? I mean, imagine going through your entire life letting other people make choices for you, make decisions for you. That's a place of disenfranchisedness, of disempowerment, a place of not feeling in control, right? Of feeling powerless, feeling dependent, feeling victimized. So back to your wife. So she's there. She's got an opinion. She's in a kind of a mood. She's kind of perturbed, and we're just agreeing with her in our mind about everything, right? Oh, she must be right. Yep, I screwed it up. But what we have to recognize is that she didn't get a secret owner's manual. She wasn't issued a secret owner's manual on the day that she came into the world. Just like you weren't, just like I wasn't. And that means that she's not always right. Now, she may have a good sense of things, and it's worth us paying attention and then going inside of ourselves to say, what do I think about that? Right? To have thoughts about our thoughts, to get clear for ourselves. But putting it on her is too much of a burden, too much of a responsibility, and there's no way that she could possibly know all of these things. And quite honestly, don't you walk around thinking that everyone else has it all together, that you're the only one that's confused, that everybody else has got a nicer car or a nicer house or more money in the bank, or that their kids are probably more well-behaved, or that they have a better sex life, or that they're never uncomfortable in social situations? Don't you kind of walk around thinking that everybody's taller than you? And this just isn't true. It just isn't true. It's part of the imposter syndrome. It's part of our inner critic. It's part of our self-limiting beliefs. It's part of the story that we tell ourselves. And part of the story that we tell ourselves is that she's right, that she knows, that we are just clueless, and that we don't understand. And when we put ourselves in that place, and I say put ourselves in that place, all right? Again, because you have to agree to it. If I told you you were a purple polka-dotted kangaroo you would look at me like I was crazy, right? You wouldn't agree with that. You'd say, what? What are you talking about? Are you okay? Do you need to lay down? Are there some meds that you need to take? You wouldn't agree to it because it would be out of alignment with who you know yourself to be. But when she criticizes you, when she says something that even sounds critical, what do? You immediately take it personally. You immediately get defensive. You immediately get your hackles up. You start explaining and defending and justifying and telling her why she shouldn't feel that way. You try to fix it. You try to make the discomfort go away because it doesn't feel good and you don't like it, because you're agreeing to her assessment of the situation, her assessment of you, and really the honest truth is she's a human being just like you, and she doesn't have all the answers. So where do the answers come from? How do you get the answers? Well, I gotta tell you, I don't have your answers either. I don't have your answers. The men in my community don't have your answers. Your wife doesn't have your answers. Your boss doesn't have your answers. Your kids don't have your answers. Your family don't have your answers. Nobody has your answers, right? Because here's the important part. It's your life. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Just think about it for just a moment. It doesn't make any sense for me to live my life and your life. It doesn't make any sense for me to live my life and my kids' life. It does not make any sense for me to live my life and my wife's life. She, you, they have their own life, right? They're given their own life. They're given an opportunity to live it, to run it however they want. And that means that nobody else has your answers. Now, there can be questions that come up. There can be resources, books, videos, conversations, opportunities to have thoughts, to think, to question, to go, I don't know. I never really thought about it like that. That's an interesting question. What do I think about that? There's an opportunity for us to step back and recognize that we're not our thoughts. We're not our brain. We're not our fear. We're not our body. We're not our mind. We're not any of these things, right? We actually are something separate from that. And that's something separate, a lot of times we'll call the observer, the one who sees, the one who witnesses, the one who says, what do I think about that, right? Because if we were only just our thoughts, then we would just be trapped in those thoughts. We wouldn't have any opportunity to question them. We wouldn't have any opportunity to make different choices for ourselves. And then we'd be stuck. But you're not stuck, right? You can make choices. But it starts with asking questions. And that's where a community of men comes in, where we ask each other questions, where we share our stories, where we tell the truth about ourselves, where we allow ourselves to be seen, where we say uncomfortable things that we've never said out loud because they were too uncomfortable, we were afraid of being judged, and we've held it in and hid it. And at the same time that we wanted to be seen, we wanted to be known, we wanted to be understood, we wanted to be connected, we've said, you know what, I'm not gonna say that, because if I say that, maybe it'll upset somebody. Maybe somebody will think poorly of me. Maybe I'll be judged. Maybe I'll be rejected. Maybe I'll be ostracized from the group. And so having a community of men where you can actually reveal yourself, allow yourself to be seen, is essential to you being able to accept yourself, for you to be able to see yourself, for you to be able to ask the questions of yourself, for you to be asked questions by other men. Men who are outside of you, who aren't on the inside of you, right? Because it's hard for us to see ourselves on the inside. We're on the inside looking out, and it's hard for us to see ourselves. But when you have someone sitting outside of you, listening to what you're saying, and you're just talking, there's gonna be times when you're gonna say something, and they're gonna be like, so when you say this, what do you mean? And you're gonna be like, what? What do you mean, what do I mean? Well, you said this, so what does that mean? Did I say that? Yeah, that's what you said, right? So it helps us to hear ourselves. It helps us to hear ourselves maybe for the first time ever. And then we start to go, oh, there's a little bit of a pattern interruption there where we go, oh, I don't know. I don't know. How often do I say that? I didn't even know that I thought that. And so then we start to actually have an opportunity to stop down and go, let me have thoughts about that. Let me think about that. Let me reconcile. This is the word that I love. Let me reconcile that. Like, let me figure out how that compares to the reality of things, right? Let me figure out how that works according to my beliefs, according to my self-limiting beliefs, according to who I think I need to be or what I need to do in order to be accepted, to be loved, to be okay. And this is something that your wife is going through as well. It's a human experience. But I work with guys. I work exclusively with guys, and I talk with guys all the time. So we have a community of guys that I want to invite you into, because we have to take ownership of ourselves. We have to lead ourselves to a different version of this relationship that we have going on. When we're relating to her as though she's always right and she has a secret owner's manual and she doesn't make any mistakes and we're wrong and we're bad, then we're going to be stuck in this loop, and she doesn't know how to fix it. You don't know how to fix it. But I got to tell you, once we start unraveling this hairball for ourselves, we start to experience something different. We start to experience a different version of relationship, a different way of being, and we give that version of ourselves to everyone in our life, to our wife, to our kids, to our coworkers, to our friends. We give, instead of giving the confused, frustrated, angry version of ourselves to everyone in our life, we give a whole and happy and complete version of ourselves, because we're no longer feeling powerless. We're no longer feeling bad. We're no longer feeling alone. And now we are in a place where we can, our spirits lift, and we can actually be joyous. We can be happy, and we can come from that place. We can interact with the world from that place. So I want to invite you to the community. Welcome aboard. Your next step is just to go to happymancoaching.com/community. You're already here. This is the orientation. This is the invitation, right? You're here already, standing in the lobby. Just go ahead and fill out that form. Hit submit. I'll process that. We'll get you connected into the community. We'll get you plugged into some of these conversations. We have calls every Monday night. We have calls every Saturday morning. We have discussions in between all week long. Instead of carrying all of this stuff around, you can just come and dump it on the page, and trust that you'll be in a place where guys will hold space for you. They'll ask questions. They'll be supportive. They won't tell you how to live, but they will invite you into coming up with your own answers for yourself. And I got to tell you, you have them. You have them. They're within you. You already know. There's just some things that are getting in the way of being able to live those things out, to be able to experience more of what you want to experience in life, more of you. All right? happymancoaching.com/community. Fill out the form. It's just like filling out a little paper form when you get to an event, like going to a conference or something like that. Name, email address, a few details so we can get to know each other. And we'll get you plugged into the community. All right, brother, that's what I have for you today. Secret owner's manual. She doesn't have it. She does, and she doesn't have your answers, and she wants the best. You two are actually on the same page. You just gotta dial it in. You gotta fine tune it just a little bit, and that's the part that you can do for yourself. All right, talk to you later. Bye.